When I opened my eyes, my neighbor Victor was standing over me with some kind of silver gadget pressed against the humidifier on my nightstand. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. "Russell," he said, and his voice was shaking. "How long has this thing been running in your bedroom?" I tried to sit up, but my arms felt like wet newspaper. "My daughter gave me that," I mumbled. "For my breathing." Victor set the gadget down and put both hands on my shoulders. "That's what's making you sick, Russell. This machine is poisoning you. My name is Russell Mackie. I'm 69 years old. I spent 37 years as a civil engineer for the city of Kingston, Ontario. I helped design drainage systems, road expansions, infrastructure that people drive over every day without thinking about it. I'm a practical man. I believe in things I can measure, things I can see. So when I tell you that my own daughter tried to kill me for money, I need you to understand that I didn't come to that conclusion lightly. I fought it. I fought it the way you fight a diagnosis you don't want to hear. But the evidence doesn't care about your feelings. Let me go back to where it started. 14 months ago. Thanksgiving weekend in Kingston. The leaves along the Cotarocky River had turned that burnt orange color that makes tourists pull over and take photographs. My wife Joan had been gone for 4 years by then. Ovarian cancer. She went in 11 months from diagnosis to funeral, and I swear the speed of it is what nearly killed me too. You plan for retirement together. You talk about finally seeing the Maritimes, about selling the house and maybe buying a condo downtown, about growing old on the same porch. And then one afternoon in February, she says her stomach's been hurting. And by Christmas, you're picking out a casket. After Joan passed, I learned how to be alone. Not well, but I learned. I kept the house on Bagot Street. 3 bedrooms, finished basement, the garden Joan loved. Property taxes went up every year, but I didn't care. That house was the last place her fingerprints still existed. On the kitchen walls where she'd lean while she cooked. On the railing she gripped going up the stairs. I wasn't leaving. My daughter Denise drove up from Toronto that Thanksgiving with her husband Grant and the grandkids. Denise is 44. She's a dental hygienist, or she was before she quit to stay home with the children. Grant works in commercial real estate. He's the kind of man who checks his phone during dinner and calls it staying connected. I never warmed to him, if I'm honest. There's a slipperiness to Grant, like talking to someone who's always rehearsed what they're going to say. But Denise chose him, and Joan always told me to keep my opinions about sons-in-law to myself. So I did, after the turkey, after the kids ran off to watch something on the iPad. Denise brought out a box. Brown cardboard, no wrapping paper. "Dad, we got you something." Grant researched it. She opened the box and pulled out a white machine about the size of a toaster. Sleek, modern-looking, about the size of a toaster. Sleek, modern-looking, a humidifier, she said, but not just any humidifier. It's medical grade. It has a built-in air purifier, UV sterilization, the works. It connects to an app on my phone so I can monitor the air quality in your house remotely. Grant leaned back in his chair with that smile of his. "Your place is old, Russ. No offense, but these older houses, the air quality can be brutal. Mold spores, dust, radon even. This thing cleans everything. You'll sleep better, breathe better, feel 10 years younger." I looked at Denise. Her eyes were wet. "Please, Dad. I worry about you up here all alone. After what happened to Mom, I can't." She didn't finish. She didn't need to. I set it up on my nightstand that night. Plugged it in. Filled the water reservoir. Let it hum. It made a soft white noise, almost like rain. I fell asleep faster than I had in months. If I had known what that machine was actually doing to me, I would have carried it to the curb and smashed it with a hammer. I would have driven to Toronto that night and demanded answers. But I didn't know, and that's how these things work, isn't it? The people who hurt you the most are the ones you never suspect, because suspecting them would mean your whole life was a lie. November was fine. December was fine. I went to the Legion Christmas dinner, played euchre with the neighbors, shoveled my driveway after every snowfall like I'd done for 30 years. The humidifier ran every night, that gentle hum filling my bedroom like a lullaby. January is when it started. Headaches first. I've never been a headache person. Joan used to say I had a skull made of Canadian Shield granite, but suddenly I was waking up with this pressure behind my eyes, like someone had packed my sinuses with cement. I figured it was the dry winter air. I turned the humidifier up higher. That was exactly the wrong thing to do. By February, the headaches had a friend. Fatigue. Not regular tired. Not the kind you fix with a good night's sleep. This was bone-deep exhaustion. I'd wake up at 7, eat breakfast, and by 9 I'd be back in bed. My legs felt heavy. My thoughts moved slow, like wading through mud. I'd sit in my chair by the window and watch the snow fall and realize 2 hours had passed and I hadn't moved. Denise called every day now. "Dad, the app shows your air quality readings are fluctuating. Are you opening the windows? You shouldn't open the windows in winter. It defeats the purpose." I wasn't opening the windows. I barely had the energy to open the fridge. "Maybe you should see your doctor," she said. So I did. My GP, Dr. Okafor, a good man I'd been seeing for 15 years, ran the standard tests. Blood work, chest x-ray, blood pressure. Everything came back within normal range for a man my age. "You're 68, Russell. Some fatigue is expected. Try to stay active. Maybe join the Y." I tried. I signed up for the morning swim at the Artillery Park Aquatic Center. Went 3 times. Each time I came home so wiped out I slept until dinner. I stopped going. March brought the tremors. My hands. Not constant, but often enough to notice. I'd pour my morning coffee and watch the stream miss the mug. I'd try to button my shirt and my fingers would fumble like they belonged to someone else. I called Denise about it, trying to keep my voice steady. "Oh, Dad." Long pause. I could hear Grant saying something in the background. "Grant thinks you should come see a specialist down here. He knows a neurologist at Mount Sinai. One of the best." Grant knows a neurologist. Grant always knows somebody. I said I'd think about it. Then I went into the bathroom and held my hands out in front of me and watched them shake. My father had Parkinson's. I watched that disease take him apart over 6 years, piece by piece, until the man who'd built our family cottage in Sharbot Lake with his own hands couldn't hold a spoon. The thought of following him down that road made me sick with fear. April. The fog rolled in. Not outside. Inside my skull. I'd be reading the Kingston Whig Standard and realize I'd read the same paragraph 4 times. I'd walk to the kitchen and stand there staring at the cupboards, unable to remember what I'd come for. One morning I drove to the metro on Princess Street, a trip I'd made 1,000 times. And when I came out, I couldn't find my car. I walked the parking lot for 20 minutes, groceries getting heavy, heart hammering, until I spotted it 2 rows over from where I was certain I'd parked. I sat behind the wheel and cried. First time since Joan's funeral. The memory lapses terrified me more than anything. Because of my father. Because I'd seen what forgetting looks like from the outside, and now I was feeling it from the inside. I called Denise that night. "Okay," I said, "I'll come see the neurologist." 2 weeks later, I took the Via Rail to Toronto. Grant picked me up at Union Station in his black BMW. All smiles, firm handshake, asking about the train ride. But something in his eyes made me uneasy, something I couldn't quite name at the time. Now I know what it was. Anticipation. The neurologist was Dr. Anand, a woman in her 50s, calm and thorough. She ran me through everything. Memory tests, coordination exercises, MRI. When she called me in for results, her face was careful. "Mr. Mackie, your scans show some early indicators of cognitive decline. It's not definitive, but I want to be proactive. I'm going to start you on a medication that can slow the progression." My stomach dropped through the floor. "Are you saying it's dementia?" "I'm saying we don't want to wait and find out. Early intervention is key." She wrote a prescription. Small white capsules. Twice daily with meals. I filled it at the Shoppers Drug Mart on the main floor. I stayed with Denise and Grant for a week. Their house in North York, big place, 4 bedrooms, granite countertops, The kind of house that looks like a magazine spread but doesn't feel like anybody actually lives there. They were attentive. Too attentive. Grant kept filling my water glass before I'd taken 3 sips. Denise kept asking if I was comfortable, if the medication was working, if I needed another blanket. On my 3rd night there, I woke at 2 in the morning with the worst headache of my life, like an ice pick behind my left eye. I stumbled to the guest bathroom. My hands were shaking so badly I had to use both of them to turn the tap. I splashed water on my face and looked in the mirror. Gray skin. Sunken eyes. I looked like a man being slowly erased. Then I noticed something. They put a second humidifier in the guest room. Same brand, same model, same soft hum. And standing there at 2 a.m. in my daughter's house, a thought flickered in the back of my mind. Ugly. Impossible. I pushed it away because, thinking it would mean everything I believed about my family was wrong, I went back to Kingston the next day. The medication didn't help. If anything, things accelerated. May brought the dizziness. I'd be standing at the kitchen sink washing a plate, and the room would tilt like a ship in a storm. I fell twice. The second time I cracked my forehead on the counter edge. 7 stitches at Kingston General. Denise was frantic when I told her. Dad, this is insane. You can't live alone anymore. Come to Toronto. We'll set up the basement. It's all finished. You'd have your own space. Grant's already drawn up some papers for a power of attorney, just in case. It's smart planning, Dad. Practical. Power of attorney. The words sat in my stomach like stones. I'll think about it, I said. By June, I'd lost 20 pounds. Food had no taste. I'd heat up a can of soup and take 3 spoonfuls before pushing it away. My clothes hung loose. Old friends from the Legion stopped calling because I kept forgetting to call them back. My world shrank down to the house, the bedroom, and the hum of that machine on my nightstand, running all night, every night, filling the air with something I couldn't see. Where are you right now, listening to this? Are you in a warm house somewhere? Are you safe? Are you alone? Do you know what it feels like to watch yourself disappear and have no idea why? Canada Day. July 1st. The irony. I walked to Confederation Park, maybe half a kilometer from my house. Families everywhere, kids with sparklers and little flags, a band playing on the waterfront stage. I sat on a bench near the water and watched the boats on Lake Ontario. The sun was warm. The breeze smelled like grilled corn and sunscreen. I was so tired. My head was pounding. The world shimmered at the edges like heat rising off asphalt. A woman walked by with a toddler in a stroller. She smiled at me. I tried to smile back. Then the ground rushed up. I don't remember falling. One second I was on the bench, the next I was on the grass. Sky spinning above me, voices coming from far away. Somebody call 911. Is he breathing? Don't move him. Then nothing. I woke up in an ambulance. Fluorescent light. The smell of rubbing alcohol. A paramedic with a young face was checking my vitals. Sir, can you hear me? Can you tell me your name? Russell Mackie. Good. You collapsed in Confederation Park. We're taking you to KGH. I spent 3 days in Kingston General. They ran every test. Blood panels, cardiac workup, neurological assessment. The attending physician, a woman named Dr. Liu, sat with me on the 3rd morning with a puzzled expression. Mr. Mackie, frankly, we can't find a clear cause for your symptoms. Your blood work shows some anomalies, elevated heavy metal markers, but nothing that points to a specific diagnosis. Have you been exposed to any unusual chemicals? New construction in your home? New products? I thought about the humidifier. And then I thought about Victor. Victor Beaulieu, my next-door neighbor for 22 years, retired chemistry professor from Queen's University. A quiet man, widower like me, kept to himself mostly. We'd have a beer on the porch sometimes in summer. He'd kept an eye on me since Joan passed, the way good neighbors do without making a fuss about it. 2 weeks before my collapse, Victor had come over to return a casserole dish. He'd stepped inside and stopped in the hallway. Russell, what's that smell? I didn't smell anything. What smell? He'd walked through the house, nose up, like a bloodhound. He ended up in my bedroom, standing in front of the humidifier. He stared at it for a long time. "Where'd you get this?" "Denise and Grant gave it to me. Last Thanksgiving he didn't say anything else. Just looked at me with an expression I couldn't read and left. Now lying in that hospital bed, I picked up the phone and called him. "Victor, that thing you noticed in my bedroom. The smell. What was it?" Long silence. "Then I've been debating whether to say this to you, Russell, because if I'm wrong, it's a terrible accusation. And if I'm right—" He paused. "Can I come to the hospital?" He showed up an hour later with a metal case and a folder. He sat down, opened the case, and pulled out a device about the size of a deck of cards. "Chemical vapor detector," he said. "I borrowed it from the engineering lab at Queen's. I used my old faculty pass. After I was at your place, I couldn't stop thinking about that smell. It was faint, but it was there. Organophosphates. Industrial chemicals. They have no business being in a bedroom humidifier." He opened the folder. Printouts. Research papers. Case studies. There are devices you can buy online, marketed as aromatherapy diffusers, humidifiers, air purifiers that have been modified to release low-concentration chemical compounds. Slow exposure over months. The symptoms mimic age-related cognitive decline. Headaches, tremors, memory loss, fatigue. By the time anyone thinks to look for poisoning, the damage is significant. My hands were trembling, but not from the tremors this time. From rage. From grief. From the sick, hollow feeling of a truth you already knew but refused to see. "Victor, my daughter gave me that machine." He looked at me. Didn't flinch. "I know. And the medication, the pills a neurologist prescribed. Bring me the pills. I called my neighbor Marta, asked her to go into my house, find the white capsules in the kitchen cupboard, and bring them to Victor. He took them to a friend in the Queen's chemistry department that same afternoon. They weren't medication. They were a benzodiazepine compound mixed with trace amounts of thallium, a sedative and a poison, in doses small enough that no standard blood panel would flag them individually. But accumulated over 4 months, they were slowly shutting down my nervous system. Between the humidifier filling my lungs with toxins 8 hours a night and the pills feeding me poison twice a day, I should have been dead by fall. The math was precise. Whoever planned this had done their homework. That night in the hospital, I stared at the ceiling for a long time. I thought about Denise at 5 years old, sitting on Joan's lap at the cottage, laughing at fireflies. I thought about Denise at 16, crying after her first heartbreak, letting me hold her while she sobbed into my shirt. I thought about Denise at her wedding, looking back at me from the altar with tears running down her face, mouthing, "I love you, Dad." And I thought about my house. Assessed value $840,000. Kingston real estate had gone through the roof in the last decade. I thought about my pension from the city, my RRSP, my TFSA, Joan's life insurance payout that I'd never touched, sitting in a GIC earning interest. Altogether, a little over $1.2 million. Not a fortune, but enough to kill for, apparently, if you're the right kind of person. I didn't sleep. Instead, I made phone calls. My lawyer, Bill Chin, who'd handled Joan's estate, the Kingston police, and an old colleague from the city engineering office whose brother worked fraud cases for the OPP. Then I called Denise. I made my voice thin, confused. "Sweetheart, I had another fall. I'm in the hospital. They're keeping me for observation. I'm scared." "Oh, Dad." Her voice was warm honey. Pure concern. "Grant and I will drive up first thing in the morning. Don't worry about anything." I think maybe you were right. Maybe I should come live with you. I can sign those papers Grant mentioned. The power of attorney. I just can't do this alone anymore." I heard her breath catch. A quick murmur to Grant in the background. "Then, we'll bring everything. Just rest, Dad. We love you. I love you too, sweetheart." I hung up, sat in the dark, and waited. They arrived at 10 the next morning. Denise was carrying a bouquet of sunflowers. Joan's favorite. Grant was carrying a leather portfolio. I could see the edge of legal documents through the zipper. They never made it inside the hospital. 2 plain clothes. OPP detectives met them in the parking lot. I watched from my window on the 3rd floor. I saw Grant's face change. That slick confidence crumbling like wet plaster. I saw him gesturing, pointing, his voice rising though I couldn't hear the words. I saw Denise just standing there, frozen. The sunflowers dropped from her hands and scattered yellow petals across the pavement. She looked up. Our eyes met through the glass, 3 floors between us and 44 years of father and daughter. In that moment I saw everything. The little girl, the teenager, the bride, the mother, and the stranger who had tried to erase me from the world so she could inherit what I'd spent a lifetime building. The investigation took 7 months. The OPP Financial Crimes Unit tore through everything. Grant's laptop had search histories for modified diffuser devices purchased through dark web marketplaces based in Southeast Asia. His email contained correspondence with the supplier using encrypted accounts. Bank records showed he'd taken out a $2 million life insurance policy on me through a broker in Mississauga, listing Denise as sole beneficiary, forging my signature on the application. Dr. Anand, the neurologist, was investigated too. Turned out she wasn't board certified. Her credentials were partially fabricated. Grant had found her through a contact, paid her $40,000 to run fake tests, and prescribed the poison capsules. She was arrested in October at her apartment in Scarborough, charged with conspiracy to commit murder, practicing medicine under false pretenses, and administering a noxious substance. She pleaded guilty to reduced charges and got 9 years. The grandchildren. Lily is 13. Cooper is 10. That question the comments always ask, and I need to answer it. When Denise and Grant were arrested, my lawyer helped me apply for temporary custody through the Ontario Family Court. Lily and Cooper live with me now. They moved to Kingston in September. Lily started grade 8 at a school on the West End. Cooper's in grade 5. They have a social worker they see every 2 weeks. They know their parents are in prison. They don't know all the details. One day they will. The trial was in February. Provincial Courthouse, downtown Kingston. Sitting in that courtroom, listening to Crown prosecutors describe how my own daughter and her husband had systematically poisoned me for 11 months, watching Denise cry on the witness stand while her defense lawyer argued Grant had been the architect and she'd been a victim of coercive control. Maybe there was truth in that. I've thought about it more than I should. Grant is a manipulator. That much I'm sure of. But Denise called me every day. She monitored the app. She knew the humidifier was running. She saw me deteriorating, and she didn't stop it. At some point, complicity becomes choice. Grant received 22 years. First-degree attempted murder, fraud, conspiracy, forgery. He'll be eligible for parole in about 15 years. He'll be 63, younger than I am now. Denise received 11 years. Her lawyer argued diminished moral culpability. The judge acknowledged the coercive dynamics but noted that Denise had multiple opportunities to stop the plan and chose not to. She'll be eligible for parole in 7 years with good behavior. I haven't visited her. Lily asks sometimes, "Can we see Mom?" I say we'll talk about it when she's ready. I don't know if I mean Lily or Denise or myself. After the trial, I sold the house on Bagot Street. Couldn't live there anymore, not with the memories of what that humidifier was doing to me night after night in that bedroom I'd shared with Joan. I bought a smaller place near Lake Ontario Park. 2 bedrooms, a little yard for the kids, a view of the water from the kitchen window. Victor comes over for dinner every Sunday. He brings a bottle of wine and helps Cooper with his math homework. Lily calls him Uncle Vic, though we're not related by any stretch. Marta from next door, the neighbor who brought the pills to Victor, she bakes cookies for the kids and refuses to let me pay her for anything. Bill Chin, my lawyer, checks in monthly and won't send me an invoice anymore. These people owe me nothing. They chose to care. That's what family is, I think. Not the blood. The choice. There's a woman I've been talking to. Her name is Gwen. We met at a grief support group at the Portsmouth Community Center last autumn. She lost her husband to a stroke 2 years ago. We go for walks along the waterfront trail. We get coffee at the same Tim Hortons on Bath Road every Saturday morning. She orders a double-double. I order a black. We don't talk about anything heavy most of the time. We talk about the weather, about books, about what the grandkids did that week. Sometimes we don't talk at all, just walk and listen to the waves. I'm not looking for what I had with Joan. That kind of love doesn't come twice in a lifetime. And I'd made my peace with that. But companionship, kindness, someone who sees you and doesn't want anything from you except your company. That's more than enough. I'm 69 now. The doctors say the chemical exposure caused some lasting nerve damage in my hands. They shake a little. Probably always will. My memory came back mostly, though some days I still lose a word or fumble a name. The neurologist, a real one this time, at Kingston General says I was lucky. A few more months and the damage would have been irreversible. Lucky. That's the word he used. I suppose he's right. I take walks every morning along the waterfront. Early before the city wakes up. The lake is different every day. Some mornings it's glass. Some mornings it's gray and angry. I stand there and I watch the water and I think about Joan. I think about the daughter I lost. Not to death, but to something worse than death. I think about Lily and Cooper sleeping in the rooms down the hall. These two children who didn't ask for any of this, who are growing up with a 70-year-old grandfather instead of parents because the people who were supposed to love them chose money over everything. Sometimes I wonder where I went wrong. Was I too soft with Denise? Too absent? Did I work too many hours when she was young? Did I miss something in her that a better father would have seen? Or was it Grant? Did he find something in her that was already cracked and just pressed until it broke? I don't have answers. I'm a civil engineer. I understand how things are built, how loads distribute, where stress fractures form, but I don't understand this. Maybe I never will. What I know is this: I'm alive. I'm here. I wake up every morning and I make coffee in my kitchen while the sun comes up over Lake Ontario. I pour 2 bowls of cereal for the grandkids and listen to them argue about whose turn it is to pick the music in the car. I go to Cooper's hockey games on Saturday mornings and sit in the cold arena with a thermos of coffee and cheer until my voice is hoarse. I help Lily with her history essays and I see Joan in her face every single time, and it breaks my heart and heals it in the same breath. The humidifier is gone, sitting in a police evidence warehouse somewhere, I imagine, or destroyed. I don't care. I bought a regular one from Canadian Tire. Nothing smart about it. No app, no Bluetooth, no connection to anyone's phone. Just water and mist and the sound of rain. I look at the lake sometimes and I think about time. How precious it is. How easily it can be stolen from you by the people you trust most. And how good it feels to have it back. If you're listening to this, wherever you are, I want to tell you something. Pay attention to your body. If something feels wrong, don't let anyone explain it away. Don't let anyone, not your children, not a doctor, not anyone, tell you that what you're feeling isn't real. Get a second opinion. Go to your own doctor, someone you chose, someone who answers to you and not to anyone else. And if something smells wrong in your house, in your life, in any part of your world, trust that instinct. Don't talk yourself out of it. Don't let love blind you to what's happening right in front of you. That quiet voice in the back of your mind, the one saying something isn't right. Listen to it. It might be the only thing that saves your life. My name is Russell Mackie. I'm 69 years old. I'm a retired civil engineer, a widower, a grandfather raising 2 kids he didn't expect to raise, and the survivor of my own daughter's betrayal. But I'm still here, and every morning the sun comes up over Lake Ontario, and I'm still here to see it.